So what you're witnessing here is how the wealthy work in real time, them switching game plans, and you're able to watch it happen on the fly. So before you had, when people weren't talking about not voting, before you had all these different groups of people represented. You had all these different candidates running against Trump. You had an old white man running. You had an old white woman running. You had a black man running. You had a quote unquote black woman running. You had an Eastern Asian man running. You had a Polynesian woman running. You had a Hispanic man running. You had somebody from the homosexual groups running. You had almost every demographic was represented in some way, and that was a blitz to try to get everyone interested in the Democratic Party. You've never had that before. You've never had seen that since, where you had all these different people running for president. All of them were platformed. If anyone was paying any attention, all of us knew these people's faces. The wealthy used their money to platform these people, to project them, to put them on the television shows, on the news channels, in the newspapers. Everyone heard about these people. And that's because they were, the trick at the time was, let's just put as many different diverse people out there so that people are paying attention to the Democratic Party, and we can hopefully drown out the Republican Party. Now, this new election coming up, where are all these different people that want to run for president? People stopped being ambitious. Ambition has died away. No one's trying to run anymore. You don't have all these different groups of people all these different types of people coming out and running. The reason you don't see that now is because that wasn't an organic thing. All of those people were employees for the wealthy. They were all out there being paid by the wealthy, working for the wealthy, to try to convince people to pay attention to this voting system. What you're witnessing now is because the masses are starting to talk about not voting because it's a joke and it's a game, and we all recognize what a mess this whole thing is. Well, the wealthy aren't going to spend their money and waste their money now on platforming all these different groups of people. They're not going to waste their money on that. They're going to go on another route. And I talked about a part of their plan in another video, Donald Trump being neutralized. In that video, I talked about all these different lawsuits against Trump, all these judgments, financial judgments against Trump.
Today on Forbes, why Trump will need a lot more than $540 million. The $540 million and counting that Donald Trump owes as a result of recent lawsuits in New York is just part of the former president's cascading cash crunch. Over the next 5 years, that is, by the end of the next presidential term, Trump has about $780 million in mortgages coming due, just part of the more than $1 billion in debt against his properties. Trump does have more time to figure out how to handle these loans than he does the $83.3 million he owes E. Jean Carroll, which is due on Saturday.
And the reason all of those financial judgments were put down on Trump is because since Trump has access to some money, and he has access to an ability to make money for himself independently of the wealthy, they weren't able to control him as much as they wanted to. They still were able to control him. They still can, he would still make deals with them. But the wealthy don't want someone in a position of quote unquote power that they have to make deals with. They want someone that they own and they control. That's why they don't like Trump. Trump will still work for them, but he'll make deals that will benefit himself. And they don't want anyone that they have to deal with who is in a position of power, that they have to sit down at a table with and make deals with. They just want someone like a Joe Biden or a Ronald Reagan or a Bill Clinton or a Barack Obama that they can just control. They can just sit you down and tell you what's what. This is what you're gonna do. We'll take care of you financially, but you're gonna do what we say. And that's what they want. And Trump, they couldn't do that with Trump before. They had to make deals with him. Now, all these judgments, if they put him in enough debt, they realize if we cripple this guy financially, then we can reduce him, because we can't stop him from running. unless we, do something illegal. We can't really stop him from running. People want to vote for him. They know him. They know his name. They know his face. So we can't stop that. But what we can do is work to make sure that this guy has no choice but to work for us. So we'll just crowd him with all of these judgments, put him in so much debt that he has no choice but to work for us. We don't have to make deals. We just tell him, this is what you're going to do, and we'll take care of these judgments for you. And to further ensure that he's under their control, well, now they have this really big judgment against him where he could have prison time.
Former President Trump, well, he's got a date with his probation officer today.
Something no former president has ever done. Donald Trump will sit for a pre-sentencing interview with his probation officer,
giving a New York City probation officer the chance to ask Trump about everything from his finances to his mental state.
Like many other defendants, he does have multiple other open felony cases.
So that's just another burden they put on his back, that they're going to just come to him and tell him, you're going to do what we tell you to do, and we'll make sure you stay out of jail. We'll make sure that this goes away. That's what they're doing. They're putting this guy in a position where he has no choice but to work for them. That's all this is. It has nothing to do with them trying to stop a criminal. No, they're just trying to put this guy in a position where he has no choice but to do what they want, when they want it. And then you see all this new stuff coming out, this new Republican bill that is really, the bill is just so blatantly anti-masses. It just attacks so many different groups. You're like, why would they release this? This is another ploy to get people to pay attention to the voting system, because people aren't paying attention. So now they're pulling out all these little tricks to say, hey, look, the Republicans are bad. So look at this plan that they're trying to put out. See how bad it is? You got to vote Democrat. You have to get involved in this voting system. If not, these people will get involved. These people will get in power and they'll destroy you.
What about this Project 2025? Will you explain to the people listening what that is?
This is the most advanced effort to prepare for an administration that there's been in history. And it started even before Trump had clinched the Republican nomination. So for years now, this project's been underway.
But is there cause for concern with this whole plan? It's not just an ideology. Isn't it sort of fealty at all costs?
This is all, you're watching these weak tricks that these wealthy people are using because they've run out of things at this point. They can't control the media the way that they want it, so they can't control propaganda the same way. They're still doing it, but they don't have the same control. So now you're starting to witness all these weak tricks to show you how weak these people are. As long as they have money, they can come up with whatever plan that they want to destabilize, to destroy your options. If you feel that I'm going to come up with my own candidate and us as the masses will work to put them in a position of power, don't waste your time, because voting is a game and a joke. The wealthy will neutralize that candidate that you put into power, or they'll just buy them. They'll either neutralize them, meaning they'll destroy them and make them illegitimate, or they'll just purchase them. And now they control the candidate that you thought was going to work for you. So voting is a waste, and it's a joke, and it's a game. Don't waste your time with this game. If you want any real change, you have to pull away the money that these wealthy people are using to control your politicians and to control your government, which essentially means they're controlling your life. Stop shopping. You have to boycott all big businesses, all major chains. Pull your money, talk about it online, spread the message, tell other people to do it. Once you pull your money and you start to take away the money that these wealthy people use to pull off these stupid plans and these little tricks and these little games, once you pull that money, then the wealthy will start to listen to you. That's it. That's the only option you have. Stop worrying about picking a candidate that will work for you, because the wealthy will either buy that person, and then now that person works for the wealthy against you, because the wealthy need to make sure that you're poor, because if everyone is rich, then no one's rich. So the wealthy are always going to work to make sure you don't have the means to be on equal footing with them. So They'll use their money to control whatever candidate that you decide to prop up and push and vote for, or they'll neutralize them the same way they're doing with Trump, where they will work their hardest to either put this person in so much debt, put so many burdens on their back that they have no choice but to work for the wealthy, or they'll neutralize them by making them an illegitimate person because they'll destroy their reputation. So stop wasting your time voting and stop shopping.